I want to just look at 4 characteristics of them people them where they transform, whether not their house, whether not their country, or whether not their community. Number 1 is their willingness to commit to a cause that is bigger than their self-interest. Number 2, they are willing to accept responsibility and have the courage to drive change. Number 3, they have a strong desire to make meaning and alter the future. Number 4, they're willing to do much more than they are paid for.
This is the JAB Show, and it's your life by design.
This is the JAB Show, and it's your life by design. This is a platform we've built for people who believe that they have divine agency to co-create and shape the circumstances of their lives, so that if they get up and look for the circumstances who they want, if they not see the circumstance, then they create the circumstances. They don't complain, they don't explain, they don't blame anybody for what's happening to them in their life. They believe rightly that they have the God-given agency to develop the life that they want to experience. Welcome to Your Life by Design. Today, I'm going to talk a bit more about leadership. And one kind leader, we call them transformational leadership. Transformational leadership. So, we've told the story and asked the question a lot of the time, and just the power we leadership, the power of leadership, the power we leadership get. We make if the team they do very badly. We don't ask this question, boku time. If the team they do very badly, now who that's in fault? Who that's normally then they sack very quickly? Who that then they sack? You say not the coach. Why not the coach? And I've asked this question several times. Why not the coach? Something they imagine like Man United. Somebody say the player they would have get a rotten. So, but why they blame the coach if you get rotten player? Why do you do that? But constantly. Once we get the discussion back and forth, ultimately you end up for say it's really about leadership. I have so continuously been amazed about the power of leadership for shape anything. And so if it's work, it's a leader. But there's one kind leader when the leader they talk about, and a transformational leader. Within the word transformational mean? In order to maintain what you get, a leader with the shape outside the country they go. A leader with the shape outside the business they go. Shape the home. The leader get enough vision for see outside the home for go. Leader doesn't complain about anything, but the leader creates what they want to see. What beauty you see all across the world, from Nelson Mandela in having a vision of a South Africa, multiracial South Africa, and he fought and lived for that. One green person created it. You see about Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore leader, created a country that is an envy for the world. One green person. That's transformational leadership. Now, I want to just look at 4 characteristics of them people where they transform, whether not their house, whether not their country, or whether not their community. 4 characteristics they would then get. Number 1 characteristics. Now, so let's take the all 4. I'll read out the all 4, and then I can break them down. Number 1 is their willingness to commit to a cause that is bigger than their self-interest. The leader, whoever this person is, and not just leader of a country, well, it could be a school, it could be anything, it could be a business. Now, the ability and the willingness for commit to a cause that is bigger than their own self-interest. Number 2, the leader characteristics, they are willing to accept responsibility and have the courage to drive change. Number 3, they have a strong desire to make meaning and alter the future. Number 4, they're willing to do much more than they are paid for. They are willing to do much more than they are paid for. So those are the 4 characteristics. Let's start with the first one. We'll start with willingness to accept responsibility and the courage to drive change. Leaders will they change nation. Leaders will they change chiefdom, Nasalon, chiefdom, districts. Leader will they change their community. Number 1, then willing to accept responsibility and then get the courage for drive change. they say just now, if an organization fail to achieve their goal, call the organization any kind of thing, would that get the ultimate responsibility? We all know well, you can blame the economy, you can blame the staff them, you can blame anybody. Ultimately, we all know say when a leader, if the organization, they struggle, the first person within the sack na the leader. The first person within the fire na the leader. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. We go argue this, go and come back, go and come. But John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. And Professor Stephen Ajay, this is a Ghanaian professor, he says leadership is the cause of all development. Everything else is effect. You know, you get cause and effect. Cause and effect. That's what he was playing around with. That leadership is the cause of all development. All else is effect. Now, let's talk about responsibility. We say leader, they take responsibility. They want the way don't hear me. People that they work with, they all don't gains for hearing this phrase. You know, about responsibility. And this phrase say na the leadership boundary theory. The boundary theory say, in the long run, whatever exists where you are in charge, you either created or allowed. Let's pause for that first. If now you're not leader, any side, anything where they go on, also you're in charge in the long run. And not say also you've been in charge for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. If you see it on the 6 months, you don't need 1 year. Now you also, wherever you are, whatever exists in the long run, now you either creator or you allow it to happen. Let's not allow Randy first to make it cold because it's hot. And press that, you know, it's so unfair sometimes. It's so unfair to the leader that you could say this, but totally, I believe it. I believe in this with me guts, and not to a standard where I hold for just anybody. It's a standard I hold for myself. If it's working, it's my fault. If the organization, if whatever I'm in charge of is not working, it's still my fault. Even when it's not my fault. Whose responsibility is it to fix it? In the long run, whatever exists where you are in charge, you either created or allowed. None of the leadership boundary theory. Leadership boundary theory. So you have to take responsibility. So any leader, when a transformational leader, we're not just a complaint, but you know, things that will not happen before you take power. But you know, the leader would now say, this is the path that I've chosen. They take responsibility. They take responsibility for fix whatever is wrong. Even things that we don't cause, then they take responsibility for fix that. Step number two, characteristics number 2 for leaders when are transformational leaders, we change waiting a meet completely. Now, willingness to commit to a cause that is bigger than their self-interest. And then anytime you talk about self-interest, imagine where you get your first job. Remember also you get your first job. Your first job ever you get. And now obviously they deal with young people and so not even get them first job yet. But if you don't begin work, you don't get your first job. And even now self not talk to you, would try to get your first job. What you look for? Really, ultimately, you may not be tell people anymore, but you really just want to get something where they put money in your pocket. So that you at least go before take care of your needs there and maybe begin support your parents there. Small. That's all you want for a job. Now for the interest, now you want for a job. Whether that job they they take the job for because you like within this organization they try to achieve. Down the line. Everybody self-interest. I want money now for take care of my family. That's how they take up. That's why we take up a job. So because of that we get what called job people. Then just one work. Just give me work no more. Young people all over the place. Sending CV. But give me some work. Any kind of work no more. Because it's really not about the work that they do. It's about them getting financial benefits at the end of the day for making them take care of themselves. But the thing is, some people beginning to end. They'll always be job people. It's always about the job. And so, they never have any commitment to this, to the cause where the business they for. Never, ever. Then wake in the morning, then go work. Half-heartedly, then can't wait for the 5 o'clock come for making them pack them bag and go to house. Months done, then pay them. The business they do well, they do well. Now that person is your own responsibility than they. So the beginning to end, they are job people. They never make the transition for making them care for the cause of the organization, for the cause of the business. So we call them job people. But people when are transformational leaders, people go transform their community, something happens in them. Once in a while, something happens inside job people. We always take the job just because we want money. Something happens inside some of us that is so powerful that it transforms them to a cause people. Transform them to a cause people where they live beyond. There's a tipping point where they live beyond what's in the benefits. I interviewed somebody for we podcast, a lady where he come out all the way to London and can't spend time in a salon, and if they tell you for make you pick any day, pick a side for stay between Europe and salon. Pick, people would pick you up. And there's a sacrifice that is required to be able to do something and even stay and live in Sierra Leone. If you're not a Sierra Leonean, big sacrifice. But that she would sit down and say, it's no longer about just their self-interest. It's about a life that they touch. Something happens inside transformational leaders that makes them move beyond just their self-interest, but live for a cause. And that critical thing, they make them a transformational leader, because it's no longer about their self-interest, it's about the things that they can change. When we come back, we'll talk about one more characteristic of leaders that transform.
This is the JB Show, and it's your life by design.
Join our community today by subscribing to the JB Show on YouTube. Don't forget to like and turn on your notifications so that you never get to miss an update. All it takes is a click.
Transfer charges chop off a chunk of what you're sending. With no sonko, you can send money for free with AfriMoney. Any day, anytime, no matter the amount. Dial *161*1# now to send money for free with no charges. AfriMoney. No sonko.
Long before roads or rails, before signals filled the sky, there was Rokel, the river that connected us all. This basket bought food, paid school fees, it raised children, and carried dreams. It held the economy in palm and straw. It brings power to our homes, food to our markets, and unity to our journey. This is the rhythm of Sierra Leone, from hand to hand, from shore to shore. But now that rhythm has evolved. Now the basket carries more. RCB SIM Cooper, for sending money from any phone. RCB Prepaid, for anyone, no account needed. RCB Cooper Card, your local power. RCB Visa, global reach in your wallet. Just like the river, your money can move freely across towns, borders, and time. From the village to the vault, the banker sees it all. One transaction, one river, moves seamlessly. This is more than banking. This is Rokel, Commercial Bank, bank of choice.
This is the JB Show, and it's your life by design.
Welcome back. We're talking about three characteristics where leaders and people where they transform, their community, their school, their business, and their nation. Three characteristics. We don't talk about two. Number one, then they accept responsibility and then get the courage for drive change. Number two, then they commit to a cause way bigger than their own self-interest. Life ceased to be about them. It was no longer about them, but about this big dream we then get for the nation. And then number three, final one for talk about today. They get a strong desire to make meaning and for alter the future. And we talk about the word, let's look at the word again for alter the future. What do you mean for alter the future? It's almost like a graph if you calibrate everything about the organization, if we continue to do things like how they do so, this is where we would end up. And so, but because they desire a different trajectory, where the country for go, where the business for go, where the home for go, whatever they in charge. Because now the church, now the Muslim, the Islamic organization, whatever it is you have, because you could see a different direction where they go, it takes something in them now to say, okay, I would alter that future. I'm going to do 6 things when if you put them together would alter the trajectory where this country they go, where this nation they go. And so they dedicate themselves to do that, to alter the future. Not to just preserve waiting been done there. Easy for talking about it, but that's what made those leaders very different. And I want to wrap up with this. 3 characteristics that we looked at. I had originally told you 4, but 3 suffice. Willingness to commit to a cause that is bigger than one's self-interest. It's no longer about you. When life ceases to be about you, you're no longer a job person. You're a cause person, CAUSE. Willingness to accept responsibility and the courage to drive change. Like our Nelson Mandela story. Number 3, the strong desire to make meaning and alter the future. Alter the future. It's a sincere desire of my heart that we always watch and look at this, would go back and go over again and says, how can I be that leader? For my school, for my business, for my organization, for my community. How can I be that leader with these 3 characteristics? On behalf of our sponsors, AfriCell, AfriMoney, and RC Bank, want to close with the saying we close every time with. The only belief that matters is this. If you think you can, you can, because your behaviors will follow your beliefs. If you think you can't, you won't, because your behavior will follow your belief. Until next time, continue to design your best life.
This is the JB Show, and it's your life by design.